Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, before we do begin, let us give a brief little review. In the last part, a number of things have happened. Deku and Kara, they were recovering from their, personal day. Now, Clark came to them. He wanted to talk to DeVille, and Deku, he had to hide Kara very quickly as he asked Superman just to leave and they'll talk later. Now, Deku, he already knew what Clark wanted to say to him that morning, and so does Kara. He wants to turn the Kryptonian Kandorian city. He wants to turn it into an army. They ran out of super pills. The only ones they have left are being used sparingly. Right now, the Kandorians can fill a need. They can fill a gap that's being left from the soldiers not having powers. Right now, Clark, he thinks that they're winning. He thinks that they've already won. All you gotta do is enlarge the city and give these people powers. But he's not thinking it through. And Deku, he doesn't understand that. Getting the Kandorians involved will make a lot of things happen. And, it could start an actual fucking apocalypse. Now, Deku and Kara, they're trying to find a way to avoid that. Right now, Allura, she's gonna at least try and wait before bringing this to the council. And Clark, he needs to at least try to talk to, Ray Palmer. Now, right now they are all leaving the city. And Clark, his time here, it has done him good. Just not in the way that Deku and Kara wanted it to. Instead of facing his grief, he's diving further and further towards that rabbit hole. He's leaning into the dark. And right now, Deku and Kara, they can tell that Superman, he's starting to actually seem a little bit more crazy. Now, Kara and Deku, these two, whenever they do get brought back to size, they do start to talk about it. It was nice visiting the city again, and Clark actually is going to comment on it. Him asking Ray if he'd be able to enlarge the entire city, give them a place on Earth, find a way to increase the size of the city and make something that can help them. Now, Ray is a bit confused, and Deku, he actually go on to tell Ray. He understands that Ray would need time to do all this, but what Clark wants to do is trying to enlarge Kandor. And Ray does look directly at Superman a bit surprised, and it does start to go through his mind. Enlarging Kandor would take a lot of effort, and Clark, he wants them to stay on Earth. But they're all Kryptonian. That sounds like a bad idea. Ray having it go through his head. That's why. They would help the regime. Now, right now Ray, he does at least sit there staring at Clark. And right now Deku, he would go to inform Mr. Palmer. Mr. Palmer would need time and effort to have all this be done, yes? And Ray would actually go to agree. And Deku would actually tell Clark. Ray will get to work making the devices very soon. However, he is going to need time, resources, and plenty of, growth particles. Now, right now Clark, he does get to leave. Him and Diana going back to the Hall of Justice, trying to understand what the hell's going on. Because they've been gone, and right now it's back to work for them. Now, Ray, he actually is a bit confused. And Deku and Kara, the two just won't stand there, trying to tell Ray to stall. Don't grow the city. Don't enlarge it. Right now, the city, it cannot be enlarged here. Kryptonians, they've lost a lot. These people, they would actually be put to the verge of extinction. Deku and Kara, they could become the last if that city does grow. Because the world wouldn't allow those Kryptonians to gain powers. Nobody on this planet would. Now, right now there actually is Clark. He does go back to it. And right now there actually is the regime. members of the regime have been trying to deal with something recently, and Clark, he's pulled into the middle of it. Because right now, Brainiac, Brainiac has found the Kryptonian, and he does going to do something quite simple. He releases something from a specialized containment cell, and he allows it to go toppling down towards Earth. Now, right now, Superman, he is trying to help the regime, and people they are beginning to surrender once again. Supervillains who've been let loose by Plastic Man's son. They are all trying to run rampant. And now that the Man of Steel is back and around, many of them, they find that their backbones, they quickly were turned to jelly. Well, figuratively, because if this were literal, Superman, he wouldn't be floating there in the sky. At least, not covered in... Well, he'd be covered in blood, definitely, if their backbones turned to jelly. Now, right now, the supervillains, they all give up. And right now, Deku, he actually is standing there in the Fortress of Solitude. He has it go through his head. A few things. Right now, they need somebody who can talk to Kal-El. They need somebody who can talk him down. If they couldn't do it, then there needs to be an option here. Now, it does make Deku freak out a little bit. However, right now we do actually have somewhere over in, let's just say, Japan. Right now there are two people walking around. And these people, they're very confused. They're disoriented. And right now they're looking around trying to understand where they are. They find themselves in a city? Now, these people, they do try to get up. However, their senses are bombarded. And right now, they're not too sure what to do. There's too much going on. And right now it does hurt. As one of them, they actually do go to try and stand up before they do go stumbling forwards. Them flying fast into the ground before they skid across it and into a dumpster. Them denting it heavily. Now, right now we do actually have Kal-El. Kal-El, he does stand there. And right now, he will get to hear something enter the atmosphere. As Deku, right now, while he was talking and trying to think, he does hear a heartbeat. One he recognizes. One that makes him feel fear. The only thing he's ever seen take down Kal-El. It just showed up back on Earth. Deku, he memorized that heartbeat. If he ever heard it again, he needed to have full hands on deck and be ready. Deku turned to Kara, as Reno rocketing down from space, smashing directly down onto the battlefield, is Doomsday. Now, Clark does turn and see the creature, him immediately enraged, as he does move forwards and throw a right hook, sending the monster flying into the distance. Now, Reno Deku does turn to Kara and tell her, he's back. What? Don't you hear that? Deku telling Kara, going to run towards the door, shouting at her as he does go rocketing off into the sky. It's Doomsday. Now, right now we do actually have somebody else. Somebody over in Germany. Right now they're still confused. They don't know what's going on. And a man does try to help them, wrapping him in a red blanket, before informing him whenever the man to see his face. He looks a lot like Superman. Now, we do actually have over with, well, Superman, who right now, he is trying to take on Doomsday. And he is not letting up. He is throwing as much force into him as he can. And right now, Clark, he does find this to be at least a bit more therapeutic. He can actually let loose his rage on levels that feel correct, and hit something that won't die, that will get back up. Maybe Doomsday will kill him. Maybe that's what he's hoping for. And right now there actually is one of our Superman. He's blasting his heat vision directly at Doomsday. And right now two people do come showing up. As Clark, he does see two other streams blast down directly at the creature. As there actually is Duville, who will go rocketing in directly at the moment. Him going to throw his body into the ground before going to throw his hands up as hard as he can. Now, right now Deku, he does launch Doomsday directly up and into the sky. As right now there is actually Kara. Kara, she does see the creature. Her going to fly in turn. Her going to directly bring her hands up and smash the creature upwards into the air more. Now, there actually is Clark, who does get to see what the two are doing. And right now Kara will go to turn and yell towards Kal-El. Hit it hard. Now, Clark doesn't understand what they're trying to do. Get it away from civilians. Good. They learned. Him flying up and rocketing his fist directly into Doomsday's body, as the creature is sent rocketing up and towards the moon. Now, right now Doomsday does go rocketing into the moon, smash landing onto it before going to get back up. Him going to leap off the surface of the moon and get ready. As right now there actually was Kal-El, who does go flying up and towards the creature. It smashed directly into him and bring its fist backwards, going to knock him across the face as the two, they're barreling into the atmosphere. Now, there is Deku and Kara. Deku and Kara, they've been presented with something interesting here. And right now Deku, while he does sit there, he does try and float there. Him going to use his senses. And right now he does hear it. He hears the atmosphere burning up. He hears Clark and Doomsday land. He hears a few other things going on. Conversations, whispers, hushed voices. He hears construction. He hears people talking. And then there's something else he does hear. He hears the sound of heat vision. Now, it does confuse Duville. Clark isn't blasting Doomsday. That sound, it sounds like it's coming from Deku looking away. And right now he does look towards a place that shouldn't have a Kryptonian. If he's right, the sounds around that, the noise, him trying to focus a bit. And he does get to hear it. He hears Japanese. Now, they're going to snap back to it. Him hearing Clark get hit with a massive amount of force and screaming out in pain. Now, they just go flying back down towards Earth. As right now the regime, they do try to gain power over Doomsday. They try and take him down. Now, right now the three Kryptonians and the regime, they fight Doomsday. And Doomsday, yeah. Right now Clark is not playing nice. He doesn't care if people die. He doesn't care if people, they get hurt. However, while he would like to avoid that, casualties will happen. It's a battle. Doomsday is the worst possible thing for him to battle right now. He thought Doomsday was Lois. Or he thought Lois was Doomsday. He thought Lois was going to kill him, harm him, destroy him. No. He going to bring his hands up, him smashing Doomsday across the face, before going to bring his hands up and grab at his head, going to at least shout at Doomsday, yell at him for what happened, and Clark actually will going to bring his hands apart, ripping Doomsday's head directly in half. Now, right now Deku and Kara, they do get to see Doomsday basically pop like a grape. Now, right now there actually is Clark, who does stand there with his hands covered in blood, and right now he's panting heavily. And there is the wild expression in his face. The sadistic glee, it looks like. And Clarky doesn't want to laugh. He thinks it's funny. He thinks that it's hilarious. Of course, Batman did this, right? He knew he was afraid of Doomsday. He cloned the fucking monster. It's not Doomsday. Superman going to stand and yell, going to toss down the head of this clone. It is obviously a goddamn fake. Now, it does go through Superman's mind. Why would Batman clone Doomsday? Why would Bruce go to that extreme? Go to that extent? No. Clark doesn't think too much about it. However, there is whenever Duville, he does come charging in. And right now, Doomsday, yeah. He is struck directly by Duville. And Deku, he saw Doomsday go to get up off the ground. And he came in. Now, Clark was a bit surprised when Deku, he came rushing towards him. And Clark thought for a second. He changed sides. Clark getting ready with his hands up, thinking, it's such a shame. I'll have to lock Duville away. Lock him in the Deku flying right past Clark, before going to clock Doomsday directly in the chest. And right now Deku, his fist, it goes straight into Doomsday's chest. As Deku, he does grab inside towards Doomsday's heart. Now, right now Deku, he'll go to wrap his hands directly around the valves, before going to put down a lot of pressure. Now, right now Superman actually going to see Duville. And Duville, he actually just stand there as Doomsday, he does start to clock Deku across the face. Now, Deku does take the blows. Left, right, and Doomsday actually starts to create a spike. As Deku, he actually does hold on with his right fist. Doomsday actually trying to push him away as he actually starts to weaken a bit. Now, right now Deku, he does keep his hand firmly squeezing. He's slowly cutting off Doomsday's heart, the very device that allows him to live. Without blood flow, Doomsday, he can't do anything. Without blood flow, Doomsday shouldn't be able or capable of doing anything. Now, right now there is Superman. He does watch it. Doomsday create a massive spike and try and slash directly at Deku. And Deku will go to dodge underneath it before going to bring him his other hand. Him going to, with two fingers, stab directly upwards into the creature's eyes. Now, Doomsday actually does start to kill over. And Admiral Clark, he does go to see it. As Deku, he will go to stand there, holding on Doomsday's still, well, unbeating heart, as he does tell him, Doomsday can't die, right? Deku's still looking at Kal-El. And right now Clark, he does stare at Duville. As Deku does tell him, right now he still has Doomsday on the verge of death. So, what they need to do is get him somewhere right now. They need to send him to the fucking Phantom Zone. Now, Clark just stared directly at Duville. And Deku just shouted at Clark, go get the fucking projector. Now, right now Superman, he would try to tell Deku that they need to control Doomsday. And Deku just stared directly at Superman, a look of horror on his face. Now, right now there is actually Kara, who's going to step in front of Kal-El, informing him as to how dangerous this creature is. Doomsday, he's a monster. He can't be killed. He's literally immortal. They tried to kill him last time. It didn't work. He suffocated in space, but he just fell from space alive. So what does that tell Kal-El? No. Clark, he does try to take a second. He doesn't believe them. This is not the real Doomsday. This can't be the real Doomsday. If it's the real Doomsday, then that means Bruce isn't involved. That being what his sane mind does process. And right now, Clark, he does want to understand. Now, Doomsday, he is put into the Phantom Zone. And right now, there is actually Deku. Deku, he does sit there after his injuries. They do start to heal. And he does have a few things go through his mind. Kal-El, he totally flew off the handle there. But that was the real Doomsday. That was the real Doomsday. Duville right now, he does sit there thinking about it. The way Clark acted, the way he flew off the hinges, it's, well, justifiable, but right now Deku, he does sit there, as Clark does put away the Phantom Zone projector. And Deku, he does finally ask a question to Kal-El. One Cal he had before, but right now he's not really in a good mood to talk about this certain device, especially because of the secrets he's been hiding from them. Now, right now Deku is going to ask Kal-El if General Zod could come back, and Cal he does stay silent. Zod would be a good ally, a good asset. He wanted to take control of this planet. Hmm. Maybe. Just maybe. But no. If he allows them to go inside the Phantom Zone, endless. Fucked? No. The Phantom Zone's too weird. No aging, no need for resources. He knows that they're still alive in there. But Duville doesn't know. Well, how has Duville stayed on this course? Stayed. No, no. Duville is a loyal soldier to him. Duville follows his orders. He listens to Clark. Maybe he needs to do something. Now, Clark does have an idea. It's both a way to distract Duville, but it's also a way to try and find Bruce. And right now, Superman, he releases Victor Zsasz. And he does have a few things happen. Now, Deku does try to at least nurse his injuries. And right now, he does at least try and think about what to do. They need to talk to Batman. Tell him what they know. And if Ray Palmer, he does enlarge Kandor, this world will be in trouble. Now, it does still annoy Deku. The idea that he heard another Kryptonian. The idea that there's some on Earth. No, no, no. I mean, him and Kara, they fell from the sky years after, but another one falling from the sky. Is that possible? Now, Deku, right now he does at least look through a few things. He remembers he was able to hear heat vision. He heard noises around the area in Japan. He remembers a lot. Now, so right now, Clark, he is trying to deal with Doomsday. He's going to secretly try and get Doomsday under control. And Lex will be there to help him. Lex will develop something. Even if it does involve brainwashing. Doomsday will help the regime. Now, Clark, he is told by a few people about something that happened. A red and blue blur that was in Germany. Now, right now there is actually Deku and Kara. The two, they do go to Batman. And right now Batman, he is a bit shocked at hearing what's happening. And it sounds intense. Now, right now Deku, he would go to ask the question. Especially when for Lex Luthor to stand there. Deku turning towards him. And stepping forwards. Asking if they've picked up any unusual activity recently. Now, Lex to sit there and turn to directly see Duville. And Deku going to ask the question again. Have they noticed anything strange in Japan? To which Lex would say no. And Deku would listen to the man's heartbeat. The man passing the test as Deku, he'll get a step forwards, asking Lex Luthor. Has he stopped that clone project? Has he discontinued it? He knows that they made Connor. However, what else did they make? Now, everybody, they do kind of stand there a bit confused. And they don't seem to understand what Deku, he's saying. As right now, Deku, he's going to ask Lex Luthor if he made another goddamn clone of Superman. No. Lex is a bit taken aback. However, he would try to express. He did not. And Deku, he does take that answer. Right now, they need to find this Kryptonian. If there's another Kryptonian here on Earth, more questions are being asked. Now, right now, Deku, him and Kara, they would leave. And Kara, she does decide to head back to the farm. As Deku, right now he does need to do a bit. Kara needs to think. And Deku, oh boy, is he a bit annoyed. Doomsday came back to Earth. And what does that mean? I mean, it's so bad. But right now, another Kryptonian might be on Earth. Department K. He can't let them get them. Now, Deku does fly to Japan. And right now there actually is that rogue Kryptonian. Right now, one of the two Kryptonians in Japan, they're still here. And Deku, he currently does fly down into a building. As somebody, they do open the door whenever he knocked. And right now they do someone freeze standing in front of Duville Zod. Now, the woman should just stand there. And she does stare at the young man in front of her. The symbol on his chest. Now, Deku would ask the woman here if he'd be able to come in and look at her guest. Huh? You're Superman. No. I'm one of them, but I'm not the one who goes by that name. Are you going to hurt me? No, I'm not. Your guest, however. I wish to speak to them. Okay. Yes, but she's a little busy. Now, Deku's confused. She? Now, right now, Deku, he is led in by the woman. And whenever a man does turn and see somebody in a suit, they do somewhat take a second to realize, as they've seen him on TV before. Now, right now, Deku, he does stand there as somebody does come walking out, them expressing as Deku does look directly at them. And it's quite apparent, the way they look. Now, the person they do see Deku, the symbol on his chest. And right now, Deku, he is immediately pounced on by a copy of Kara Zor-El. Now, right now, Deku, him and this clone of Kara, they do go flying out of the city. And Deku, he does whisper one simple phrase that Kara, she is going to pick up on. She would get to hear Duville's voice. As Duville, he would say, "Found it." Now, Kara is someone going to perk up. Her going to actually stop chopping something, as she does going to turn and fly out of the house fast. Now, there is actually this copy of Kara, who right now, Deku, he does try to bring in alive. So he does have to change up his tactics. Now, there is actually over with the regime. They're getting reports of Superman causing chaos? Now, obviously Clark does not like this. And the Bizarro, it is obviously creating mayhem around the entire world. Now, there is also at least a third report of another Kryptonian. Now, this one does seem odd to Superman, and he's confused. Duville's hunting down this other Kryptonian, but they're in Japan and this one's in... No, that doesn't make sense. Now, right now Clark, he will get a fly there. As right now, we do actually have in a bar. The Kryptonian, he caused a bit of chaos, and he was mad. And right now, whenever Clark he does go walk in, there is where a man is sent flying directly out of a window. Him flying 20 feet and landing in the road. And Clark would turn and see the man, using X-ray vision to see that the man, he clearly may have been a bad guy. Now, right now Clark would go to turn back, walking in and seeing somebody. as there to stand Duville. Now, right now the clone, it would go to pull up a pool stick, as it would go to comment looking directly towards Superman about what's going on. Now, Clark is taken aback. This is Duville Zod, but he's different. What is going on with him? Now, Deku is trying to handle the clone of Kara. And Kara, she's on her way to help Deku with that. But then there's this chaos going on with Superman, and then there's also a bit of chaos with Duville Zod. Now, right now that's all going on. But we do actually have somewhere else. We have a fourth clone. One that's a bit more stable. And right now it does currently sit there as somebody, they did put a plate in front of it, asking this person if they're okay. And they do so with a nod, expressing to the person, thank you. Now, right now Deku and Kara, they're unaware as to the fourth clone. And right now, they are all trying to deal with a bit of super chaos. Or, well, let's just call it the reverse. Now, speaking of reverse, somebody's been stopping Barry from going back in time. And Barry, he's been annoyed. Everything that's happened, everything going on, he's tried to prevent another disaster. Another flashpoint could solve this. But that's what he thought before. And what happened then? What happened then? Right now, he needs to find the Reverse Flash, Eobard Thawne, and kill him. If he kills Eobard, he can go back in time. If he kills Eobard and goes back in time, though, he wouldn't need to go back in time, and Eobard wouldn't die. So, how does this all work? Now, Barry's trying to deal with that conundrum. And right now, there is something else happening. As Damian Wayne walks into the Batcave and finds Alfred Pennyworth dead, with cuts all over his body. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed and have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.